Hello, welcome to the Bluefield University Coaches Show. It's Monday, September 13th. I'm your host, Joey Jarvis. What's been an emotional roller coaster over the weekend for Bluefield University and the Rams. We're going to get to football here in just a little bit. Also going to be talking, well, the European and world version of football with head soccer coach Justin Morton as well. Now, we got to say for tonight, Dewey Lusk not going to be with us tonight. He does have a family emergency, so please keep him and your family in his prayers and thoughts as they go through these troubling times. We'll be talking with head coach Justin Morton here in a little bit for the soccer team, like I mentioned, and also associate head coach for the football team, Dino Kakulis, here in just a little bit. But a couple of things to get to before we do get to anything else. We want to say thank you to our host and sponsor of tonight's show, The Grind. We're in downtown Bluefield, Virginia, 103 Spring Street. Learn more about their delicious coffee, all their beverages, and great food options here at The Grind, online at thegrindbluefield.com. We want to thank everybody for letting us hang out here. Hey, one quick note. Golf is tied for first place after the opening round of the Castle Classic at Fincastle in Bluefield, Virginia. The Rams and Milligan are both at 299. BU's Patrick Dotson leads the field individually, shooting an even par 70 today. Wow, that's incredible. The Rams' Noah Moeller is second, one stroke off the lead with a 71. The second and final round going to be set for tomorrow. And a big congratulations to quarterback Josh Nelson. He was named Mid-South Conference Appalachian Division Offensive Player of the Week. Nelson passed for 365 yards, 4 touchdowns, ran for 45 yards, and tossed that all-important two-point conversion, which proved to be the game-winning points. 365 yards passing was a career high and third best in Bluefield University history. Women's volleyball is going to be on the road Tuesday at Johnson University down in Knoxville, Tennessee. Women and men's soccer are on the road Wednesday at Columbia College. Women's volleyball hosts Reinhardt Friday night at 6:30 and Point Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. And, of course, we want to invite you along with Chick-fil-A for Chick-fil-A Community Day. For women and men's soccer, it's going to be this Saturday at the East River Soccer Complex. Games, prizes, food available. Women will play at 5, men will play at 7. Admission is free. We invite all the public to come on out for Chick-fil-A Community Day. We'll talk more about that coming up in a little bit with head coach Justin Morton. Football going to be on the road at Pikeville. That game is Saturday at 6. Of course, stay up to date with everything on Bluefield University Rams Sports online at bcrams.com. And when I talked about the roller coaster we had over the weekend, it's going to go down in history as probably one of the best victories ever in the history of Bluefield University Rams football. A win down at Emory and Henry University in Abingdon, Virginia, where they took on the Wasps. And I'm speaking with the associate head coach, Dino Kakulis. First of all, congratulations. What a win this past weekend. Let's talk about that a little bit. You went into a game, granted, on paper, an underdog. Let's just be blunt. Bluefield University had to go in there and really play their A game. And for most of the game, that wasn't happening. Then we got to that fourth quarter, the last 5 minutes. Let's talk about that roller coaster. You and your players and associate coaches were all going through the last 5 minutes where you scored 22 points to get that victory. What was that like? First of all, what was the emotion like?
Emotions are always high, you know, and when you get the momentum, the big mo starts rolling, you know, I think as coaches we try to stay calm because you can't get rolled up into that. And
that's easier said than done.
Well, you know, I think it's been easier for me as I've gotten older. As a young coach, you know, I was just as
right.
hyped up as the kids, but you know, you got to stay in the moment, understand still the layout of the game and what still has to transpire, you know, and trying to keep the kids focused. And really, I mean, they're the ones who executed down the stretch.
Of course.
And can't be more prouder for them and what they did.
Well, and so much talk online after the game, too, was what a bold move it was to go for. Let's talk about that last possession. Of course, you get the last touchdown to come within a point of tying the game. They call a timeout. Emory Henry calls a timeout on that extra point, trying to freeze the kicker. What was the talk in the huddle with Coach Lusk and everybody? How was the decision made to go for two and go for the win?
Well, to be honest with you, it was pretty easy. I mean, I thought we were going to go for two to begin with.
Really?
Personally, because those guys their defense was tired.
Right.
I know they'd been out there for a lot of plays, and being a defensive coach and being on that end of it, I know how it is, And then when they called the timeout, Coach looked at me, Coach Ketchum looked at me, and I gave him a thumbs up. I said, "Let's go, let's win this thing and get out of here."
And then you got it, and of course they've got a possession left. So here you are, defensive coordinator, associate head coach. How did you get your 11 guys on that side of the ball ready for the onslaught, which you know what they're going to be doing? They're going to be doing a lot of over the top or a lot of across the middle, getting that, trying to find the soft spot in that zone.
At the time, I don't think they had any timeouts, and so they're going to try to get the ball to the sideline, get out of bounds, get the clock stopped. So we're trying to keep them in bounds, and basically slow play it. When you get off the tackle, and the thing is, we talk about it all the time, and we preach it, we drill it. In that situation, I think the chart is like, if it's like a minute 10 left, if you can get one sack and they've got no timeouts,
that's ball game.
It's pretty much a wrap, as long as you don't blow a gasket or something. But and then we gave the 5 yards back because we were trying to get
the 12 personnel.
Yeah, the 12. That's right. Yeah, we were trying to get our prevent personnel in there. We were trying to sub another guy out, and I should have done it when they were still on our hash before it went to the other side, and that's where we kind of got caught. But we gave them the 5 yards back. But the kids rallied and did a good job. We were able to get pressure with 3 guys.
Well, it was just an incredible win, and I still get goosebumps thinking about those last few minutes. But the game as a whole, defensively, your unit actually kept them in check. Granted, it was a tough game. Some of those touchdowns.
Well,
I was a little leery on it. But
look at the film, and it just reiterates what we were relaying to the kids, and they knew as well. We've been missing some opportunities with turnovers and interceptions, and yesterday we went through and tallied up the things that we should have, and we would be leading the country in interceptions right now in double digits if we would just do what we're supposed to do and trust our eyes. And last week that's 2 touchdowns they don't have.
Right.
Those drives are over with. And they don't score.
Right. Which could have been a difference.
Yeah.
In the outcome.
And similar scenario. Saturday. We drop one, we catch one, we have a hand on one. We're off 2 yards, which puts us 1.5 yards away from where we need to be.
Right.
And it's a catch instead of a pass breakup or an interception.
But fundamentally, what do you think of your defensive unit for the first 2 games? I mean, other than a 4-pin,
I think we're doing a lot of things well. We did a good job on 3rd down Saturday.
Very much.
Which is something that we stress. Is 3rd downs. Our tackling has been pretty good. Always want it to be better, but our guys are working hard, and the good thing about the guys we have is we have a really good mix of guys that have been around, guys that had some experience.
Right.
Even if that experience was just this past spring, but it's like they've been with us for longer than that, because we had practices in the fall last year.
Right.
And got to break a lot of the young guys in. And the thing is they understand what we're trying to do schematically, and when they screw up, they already know. They're like, hey, I did this wrong, and well, all right, let's get it fixed.
Well, you see a lot. You see a lot of those jerseys flying to the ball. There's a lot of help. Who's kind of your? I mean, we know who your field general is. on defense when you're out there. Your linebacker, DeMarcus Winbush. But who else helps him out as far as reading coverages and trying to get your players ready on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, like our back end is experienced. You know, you got Charles Turner and Kadarius back there, and those guys. Kadarius been with us for 5 years.
Right.
So, I mean, he understands, you know, the ins and outs and the base foundation of what we're trying to do defensively. And, you know, from week to week, we want the adjustments and the things that we make are within the base structure.
Correct.
You know, but, you know, and our guys, I thought were in great shape in the end of the game. And
they weren't gassed.
You know, that's the way we handle practice.
That's good.
You know, I mean, we start off defensive practice running pursuit drill. You know,
really?
And the big guys don't like it too much, but you know, it is what it is. And you know, and then when we do our running at the end, you know, we're not running just to run. We're running so we can win in the fourth quarter. And
it pays dividends in the long run.
You know, Logan Petrone, you know, after the game, you know, he was like, I could have won a few more plays. I'm like, I told you, that's why we ask you to run the way we want you to run at the end of practice. You know, because that's the time that we got to have, you know, the money plays.
Exactly. Well, you sit at 1-1 on the season now. I mean, should be 2-0 in a lot of people's opinions. So, you know, a few mistakes could have been fixed. That first game opening the season could have changed, but let's don't dwell on that. Let's accentuate the positive and move on to this Saturday. And a road trip to Kentucky to take on Pikeville. What are we looking at on film-wise from this team coming up Saturday at 6?
Well, we're the first game for them.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
They have not played yet. They were supposed to play 2 weeks ago.
And got canceled.
Got canceled due to the virus. They had a bye week this week. So it's, you know, it's a kind of a roll the dice deal, but the coaching staff there has been at KCU. So, you know, we gotta beat on at least what, you know, their base is going to be, their base structure. And obviously, we don't know what the personnel, how they're going to use their personnel over there. But it's
kind of a wide open team, though, aren't they?
It's a little bit similar to what they've been in the past. I mean, we're basically using, you know, our knowledge of going against those coaches for this week. And
will you have to change up a lot of your packages? Do you think you'll be more of a nickel or dime, or you have more D-backs out, or?
Nah, we're going to play our base defense,
right?
And you know, we'll make changes when we need to make them, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Well, hopefully practice has been a real high note so far, even though you only had a few days. How's it been since Saturday? Well, emotion still high?
Yeah, I think guys are focused. You know, I mean, when we got done watching the tape yesterday, at least in the defensive room, you know, guys already turned the page. And
good.
You know, one of the things is that I tell them, it's like, you know, I tell them on the bus, 36 hours, we turn the page. You know, and that's something that some of the coaches I've been around, that's what they used to tell us when I was a player. And as a coach, really, I turn the page as soon as I get on the bus and start looking at other stuff.
Well, we appreciate you, and it's I'm telling you, as a whole, it's been one of those things that, you know, being a fan of Bluefield College, now Bluefield University football, the tenacity of some of these kids is just, I mean, it pours through their helmets. You can see these kids, the emotions just run high, and getting your kids prepared for this level of football now is, well, it's apparent in the outcome. The results are really right there, and you know, what's it going to be like leading up till this Saturday? Granted, we're going to have a few curveballs thrown your way, but what do you anticipate the rest of the week's going to be like for the Rams?
No, I just hope we mature and continue to grow, because, you know, winning is a process. You know, I mean, that's kind of a cliche thing now at these times, but, you know, but it's true. You know, you have to learn how to work. You have to learn how to prepare. You have to learn how to win. You have to learn how to overcome adversity. You have to learn how to overcome situations during a game that might not go your way, or when they are going your way, just to keep going and don't dwell on things. You know, play the next play.
Yeah.
Play the next play. And, you know, tomorrow when we hit the practice field, it's the next practice. You know, what are we doing today to make ourselves better, you know, as an individual, as a teammate, to prepare ourselves, to give ourselves the best opportunity to win Saturday night in Pikeville, Kentucky.
Let me ask you a personal question. What's your relationship like with Dewey, with Coach Lusk? Are y'all buddies, adversaries at times,
no.
or how's that work?
He's like an older brother that I never had.
Really?
To be honest with you. I mean, we hit it off several years back, and I was in between jobs and looking for a job, and this was when he was at Wise, and I shot him a resume, and literally like 10 minutes later he calls me, and he's like, "You got the job." I'm like, I don't even know what Wise is like. I said, I've been there once. That was back in 2003. We didn't even stay in the town. We stayed down in Tennessee and drove in the morning of the game, played the game, and left. It was my first year as a head coach, and I was like, I got wife, 2 kids. I said, I got to see what else is going on there. But no, it all worked out, and we got a great working relationship, and then obviously our relationship off the field, or however you want to say it, out of the office is good, and we enjoy a lot of the same things and play golf. And
have you taught him anything about football?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him that.
What have you learned from him? What's the one?
What's
the one Deweyism you've learned that you take, not just in football, but you use in life?
Well, just one of the things is just how he just handles everything, And when I was my first head coaching job, it was the only head coaching job. I was a young guy, and so it was a lot thrown at me that I don't think you're ever quite prepared for.
Right.
I mean, X's and O's, you're always growing. There's always things for that. But, how to deal with, financial aid, admissions, scholarships. No, I didn't know any of that stuff, and because the previous stops I had, it was Division III ball, it's whatever it was. And then, 1AA, we had a very, very, very small pot of money at that time where I was at. So, the way he handles everything and juggles it, it's pretty amazing, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of battles and things that we deal with, besides football.
Yeah, that you have no clue about.
And really, it's like we tell the kids, like, regardless of what's going on in your life, when you walk through the gate, when you walk through the door, come in the weight room, leave everything out there, because the football field and the weight room should be your safe haven. Because none of that stuff matters. You're with your buddies. You get to go around, hit each other, talk a little trash, and nothing matters at that point. You for an hour and a half, 2 hours,
right?
You can close the rest of the world off
and focus on one thing.
Focus on one thing.
That's cool. I appreciate you. Associate Head Coach, Defensive Coordinator Dino Cakalis. Congratulations on a great win.
Thank you.
Break a leg, not literally. All we can say is good luck. Be safe traveling to Pikeville, and go get them. Let's get a win.
Thanks.
Here from Bluefield University. Learn more about the whole program, like we mentioned, online at bcrams.com. Don't forget about the football team traveling to Pikeville. That game's coming up at 6 o'clock this Saturday. Get more information online at bcrams.com. Coming up in just a moment, going to be speaking with head men's soccer coach Justin Morton. We'll talk about the schedule coming up this week. And, of course, want to remind you that it's Chick-fil-A Community Day coming up this Saturday at the East River Soccer Complex for women and men's soccer. It's free admission, games, prizes, and food going to be available. Women will be on the pitch at 5, men at 7. Get more details online at bcrams.com. Back in just a moment, we'll be talking with head coach Justin Morton, head men's soccer coach. This is the Bluefield University.
You say you have vision, but where's it taking you? Because true vision is seeing what could be, contending with the status quo. It's taking what shapes you and using it to shape the world. It's the higher calling from the one who calls you his own. The higher vision, where visionaries are made. It's taking the higher road to a higher education. It's about discovering what God's placed inside of you is exactly what you need. It's knowing that to lead is to serve. And a life poured out is a life full and meaningful. So go. Go beyond the normal. Go stronger than before. Go make your mark. Make your impact. Go further.
Too comfortable?
Hey, welcome back. You're tuned into the Bluefield University Coaches Show on our YouTube channel and online at bcrams.com. Coming up in just a second, going to be talking with head men's soccer coach Justin Morton. Want to say first, they are going to be on the road this Wednesday, taking on Columbia College. And this Saturday, it's Chick-fil-A at the Mercer Mall Community Day for women and men's soccer. At the East River Soccer Complex, going to be games, prizes, and food available. The women's game will be at 5, men at 7. Free admission. We invite you to come on out, see some football, as they call it in other places, or here in the United States, we call it soccer. Learn more about Community Day online at bcrams.com. One more shout out. I want to say thank you to The Grind here in Bluefield, Virginia for hosting the Bluefield University Coaches Show. 103 Spring Street, Bluefield, Virginia. Learn more online at thegrindbluefield.com. Now, talking about a game that I have no clue, I don't know the first thing about it other than my grandfather used to call it lawn hockey when you would play soccer out in the field. But we're talking with head coach Justin Morton from the soccer team. And first of all, congratulations on what's been a season going so far. You've had a very tough season and a tough sport. My goodness, is soccer an Ironman type of sport that I'm learning a little bit more. Of course, our producer here, Jackson, is one of the announcers for soccer, which you can watch online at bcrams.com. I learned quite a bit from him and Ethan Stinson over the weekend, last week when you were playing Reinhardt. Let's talk about the sport as a whole. I mean, how is it to field a sport, such a competitive sport such as soccer, the most highly participated sport in America and in the world? What got you into soccer?
Yeah, so let me just back it up just a little bit, Joe. Because I think you said something. You and I have a lot more in common than, you say you don't know much about soccer.
Right.
Well, neither do I. So it's
what?
Just, no, just kidding. No, it's home. No, I got into soccer when I was in college, and I'm not too shy to share that.
It was that long before you got into it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of wear it as a mark of pride because I'm still probably better than like half my team. And listen, I know what you're thinking. That's braggadocious, but it's not. I'm sweaty right now, which I apologize. I probably smell like
musky, man. It's all good.
Microwave duck butter, but honestly,
I've got to learn what that is.
You Google it. And so I was out there just grinding with the young guys today, getting some reps in, serving the balls in, So got into it in college. Went to a school in the conference. I won't name their name.
That's fine.
If the kids and the people at home are that interested, they can Google search it. But I'm all Bluefield University, baby, so I don't worry about where I went to school.
We're proud of it.
I know some coaches sometimes are like, man, when I went to school, when I did this. But yeah, I went to a school, played soccer there, fell in love with it.
What position did you play?
Center forward, because mostly, Joe, and this is my first lesson to you, the center forward position is where you can hide players. And so if the player isn't very good, you just put them up top. And they don't cost too much.
Because that way they're not going back and forth constantly. Okay,
they can't get in.
Midfield up is about it.
Don't even tempt me in the midfield.
Really?
No, just put me straight up top, just kick me long balls, and I'll make something happen.
Really?
Yeah, anywhere else, I'm just gonna mess it up. Absolutely. So no, I was center forward, scored a couple goals, believe it or not, and then had a really great experience, had a great couple coaches. Met a ton of guys from different countries, Germany, Brazil.
It's a very
England.
it's a very potpourri, for lack of a better term.
Yes.
Potpourri when it comes to sport.
Absolutely. And so, especially at our level, NAI level, and you're finding it across NCAA as well, there's so many international players now that you really have to have a sensitive mind to cultures.
Which can be tough.
Which can be tough. So like a team's chemistry can really be affected. So like in years past, we've had a lot of Eastern European kids on our team, and they feel a certain way about the game than our Latino players. And our Latino players are always going, "Oh, we want more Latinos on the team," kind of stuff like that. So it's always kind of a fun international flavor. Just makes it really interesting, I think.
Well, let's make a pitch to the public because, of course, you're going to travel this Wednesday to Columbia, but then this Saturday is Community Day with Chick-fil-A at the Mercer Mall. And you all will take the field roughly about 7 o'clock. It'll be after the women's contest at 5 up at the East River Soccer Complex, which, by the way, if you folks have not seen that soccer complex at the base to East River Mountain there, just off of John Nash Boulevard, what an incredible facility to be able to have your team play. What can we expect this Saturday? And let's make a pitch, for lack of a better term, to get people to come out and support the Rams this Saturday.
Yeah, I think, we have 2 really interesting games this week. We play Columbia men's team, and then we play Johnson University on the weekend. And both are new additions to our conference.
Right.
And in fact, new additions to the NAI. So I think, actually, the men's side, they had a women's team years past, and they've been pretty good. And so we won't know what Columbia looks like, but looking at a couple of their results and a couple of games they played already, it'll definitely be an interesting fixture for us, especially on the road. And then Johnson was a team that was very competitive at the NCCAA Division II level. And so they kind of came into our conference this year as well. So again, we're in the Johnson University Royals, I believe, out of Knoxville. Cool. And so as we look to the weekend, I think it'll be a good fixture. I know I feel like I have a lot of good returning pieces and some good maturity in our team. I feel like the women's team, they have some good youngsters that they could look to, but it should be a fair contest like throughout. I think it'll be an even fixture, and so a lot of exciting football. I think there'll be a lot of goals on both sides, and so it'll be really exciting.
It's so tough to call it football. It really is. But technically, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and I get into a bad habit of that because I'm kind of like a Euro snob, so I probably watch too much European soccer, honestly. And I couldn't name you one MLS player. And that's not because I'm cool. I just watch Premier League teams to pretend like I know what I'm talking about.
My soccer knowledge comes from the Apple TV show Ted Lasso.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good. Show.
Let me know when American football gets a Ted Lasso. I feel like they have...
you remind me a lot of your not to take it,
no,
not
go
to
for
compare
it.
you, but
go for it.
But the character of Ted Lasso is somebody that came from football, goes into soccer, but it's your mannerisms, your energy, and it sounds like you really care about your players.
I do, yeah. Well, before I was a college coach, and you can ask my wife, I actually moonlighted as a comedian. So, a lot of those same...
We'll talk jokes.
Which for not being funny like that, you can't really say that if you're not funny. But I seriously, a lot of the communication pieces that I learned throughout college and even throughout high school really helped in the transition to coaching, because at the end of the day, right, you typically are given stewardship over a group of young men that you're meant to teach something to. Right? And a mentor coach of mine said it the other day, and this kind of really resonated with me. If you're meant to teach a classroom of high schoolers or college-age kids Spanish, then you were well-versed in Spanish, Joe, which I feel like you are,
No hablo español.
Yeah, exactly.
Un poco. Yeah.
Un poquito. Yeah, absolutely. But if you were teaching them that, you wouldn't be marching up and down the classroom screaming at your kids, giving them directives, right? And we see so much of that in kind of the stereotypical coaching culture, where it's just we understand something because typically we have more experience in the arena than these kids do. Even at 32, if I just kind of doped around, I would still know a little bit more than a 19-year-old, or at least have more experience.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, though, I've come across 18, 19, 20-year-olds that know a ton about soccer. That's because
good.
There's so much in the mental aspect of the game in terms of positioning and formations and spacing.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. It's
a lot to process.
It is. And so if I took for granted the fact that I have to teach, 20-something odd guys how we want to play, where we want to be standing on the field, I mean, it's a lot to take in. It can be kind of overwhelming.
It is a lot. It's a lot to process for a kid your age.
Absolutely.
32 years young.
I know. I'm a baby.
Well,
I'm a baby.
And I got to learn what microwave duck butter is. I'm going to Google that. Hey, head coach Justin Morton, you got a trip this Wednesday, this Saturday. It's Chick-fil-A at the Mercer Mall Community Day. Come on, let's make the real quick 30-second pitch to get people out. Tell them why they
Should I look at the camera?
Go look at the camera. Get in there deep. Why should they see Bluefield University Rams soccer, a.k.a. football, this Saturday? Go.
Okay, so Dad, you're in Vegas. I know you're watching this. You can't make it, and that's okay. COVID and stuff anyways. But for those of you in the community, I think this is going to be a great opportunity for us to get to know each other. The first, I think 5 or 10 people, and I'm kidding, like the first 50 people get a free Chick-fil-A sandwich. Thank you to Chick-fil-A Mercer Mall for that, which, by the way, shout out to them. We just went to the movies as a team the other day and had an incredible service from Chick-fil-A. And so please come out. See some, halfway decent soccer, meet some good kids, and at the end of the day, we want to know the kids that are playing too, because I think a couple of my players would love to build relationships with them. So,
hey, be part of the community. It's Chick-fil-A at the Mercer Mall Community Day. See men and women's soccer for free at the East River Soccer Complex this Saturday, right there on John Nash Boulevard at the base of beautiful East River Mountain. Great view, and everything will get started about 5 o'clock. The men will pitch about 7 o'clock. As well. Head coach Justin Morton. I'll tell you, I've just got a new friend here. I got to learn some one-liners from you. Learn more about his team and all athletics online at bcrams.com. Good luck to you. Be safe traveling this week.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
We'll
Hey, thanks, guys. We'll see you out this Saturday.
You got to see them. The men and women's soccer team this Saturday for Chick-fil-A at the Mercer Mall. It is Community Day at the East River Soccer Complex this Saturday. Of course, they're going to be on the road this Wednesday taking on Columbia College. Hey, thank you to you. Thank you to Associate Head Coach Dino Kakalis for joining us earlier today here on the Bluefield University Coaches Show. Once again, want to say thoughts and prayers go out to Coach Dewey Lusk, head coach of the football team, as he deals with the family emergency. Please keep him in your prayers. And don't forget, we got a lot coming up this week. Of course, golf is going to be at Finn Castle for the Castle Classic. Second and final round going to be set for tomorrow. Women's volleyball going to be on the road tomorrow at Johnson University in Knoxville. Coach Morton going to be taking his men's soccer team along with the women's down to Columbia on Wednesday. Women's volleyball hosts Reinhardt Friday night at 6:30 at the Dome, and Point on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. And of course, once again, Chick-fil-A at the Mercer Mall Community Day for women and men's soccer at the East River Soccer Complex. Games, prizes, food available. Women's game at 5, men at 7. It's free admission. We invite you to come on out. And the all-important big American football game this Saturday as the Rams travel to take on Pikeville at 6 o'clock. Get more information about all Bluefield University Rams sports online at bcrams.com. Once again, a big thank you to our host and sponsor, The Grind, here in downtown Bluefield, Virginia, for hosting us, 103 Spring Street, or learn more online at thegrind@bluefield.com. I've been your host, Joey Jarvis. Please stay safe. A big thank you to Jackson, our producer, and thank you to everybody for tuning in to the Bluefield University Coaches Show. Goodbye. God bless. We'll see you next week. Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you as well.